One rule every army believed at the start of World War II. You do not stop a German panzer division head-on. You avoid it. You slow it. You bleed it from the flanks. But you do not confront it in open ground. Germany built its reputation on this truth. Panzer Lehr, Hitler's elite armored division, wasn't simply another unit. It was the armored fist of the Wehrmacht. Veteran crews. Hand-picked officers. The best equipment. The perfect machine for blitzkrieg. Even Allied commanders whispered the same rule. If Panzer Lehr arrives, you fall back. But in 1944, on the shattered fields of Normandy, one American infantry gunner saw something no one believed possible. And in that moment, the rule broke. Staff Sergeant William Bill Kearns was 24 years old. A farm kid from Ohio who could fix anything with an engine, known in his company for his quiet focus and stubborn refusal to back down from a challenge. He wasn't a tank commander. He wasn't a general. He was an anti-tank gunner, the man everyone prayed would never have to use his weapon for real. But in July 1944, as the Allies pushed inland from the beaches of Normandy, Kearns found himself staring at a nightmare. Panzer Lehr was coming. They weren't retreating. They weren't weakened. They were advancing, directly toward the American 30th Infantry Division. By all calculations, the 30th should have pulled back. They were exhausted, scattered, undersupplied. But a new American tactic was being tested. One so odd, so counterintuitive that even senior officers doubted it. Use artillery like a sniper rifle. Not softening fire. Not barrage fire. But direct, pinpoint, line-of-sight fire at incoming tanks. A tactic built for desperation. A tactic no tank commander would expect. And Kearns was about to be the man holding the trigger. The impossible action. The morning breaks with a dense fog hugging the Norman fields. Kearns feels the damp settle on his hands as he loads his 57mm anti-tank gun. Then he hears it. A low metallic growl. Engines. Multiple. Panzer Lehr is approaching. He crawls to the edge of the hedgerow and raises his field glasses. He sees them. 11 Panzer IVs. 6 Panthers. Infantry riding the hulls like shadows in the mist. The ground trembles beneath their tracks. His sergeant shouts, "Hold fire. Wait for the artillery." Kearns' heart slams in his chest. The tactic was simple, but insane. American artillery units had moved dangerously close to the front. Big guns, 155mm howitzers, were dug in like rifles pointed directly at the enemy. When the panzers reached a precise distance, the Americans would unleash something the Germans had never faced before. Direct fire hell. Kearns hears the countdown in the radio. Range, 1,500 yards. Steady, hold. 1,200 yards. Prepare. 900 yards. Wait. Panzer Lehr accelerates. The fog thins. Kearns can now see the insignia on the lead tank's turret. Then it happens. Fire. The 155mm howitzers erupt. Not in an arc. Not lobbed overhead. Straight. Direct. Point blank. The sound shreds the air, a thunderclap so violent that Kearns feels it punch through his chest. The first shell slams into the lead Panther. It erupts in a white-hot blast, turret thrown sideways like a toy. German commanders freeze. They do not understand what they're seeing. Artillery does not fire like this. Artillery does not fight this close. Artillery does not duel with tanks. But today, it does. Kearns swings his own gun onto a Panzer IV attempting to flank left. He fires. The recoil kicks through his shoulder like a drill. The shell hits the tread, sparks, grinding metal, then a stall. The tank jerks sideways, smoking. Then the German counterattack begins. Machine guns rake the hedgerows. Panzer cannons blast the tree line. Shrapnel whistles past Kearns' face. Mud explodes under his feet. He loads again. Fires. Loads again. Fires. Another howitzer shot tears through a Panther at 700 yards. The blast rocks the field. Kearns glances up and sees something he will remember for the rest of his life. Panzer Lehr turning. Retreating. Breaking. No one believed this tactic would work. Not until the battlefield answered. If you find this kind of forgotten history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of courage, sacrifice, and battlefield genius deserve to be told. And by subscribing, you help ensure they aren't forgotten. But the fight is not over. A final Panther pushes through the smoke. Its cannon swivels toward Kearns' position. He has one shell left. He fires. The shell slams into the Panther's lower glacis at 300 yards. The tank collapses to a halt, smoke pouring from its hatch. Silence rolls across the battlefield. Panzer Lehr, the elite, has been stopped. The ripple effect. The German high command cannot believe the reports. Panzer Lehr, their pride, has been halted not by tanks, not by air power, but by American artillery fighting like rifles. What they didn't know was that this tactic would soon spread. Artillery commanders across Normandy began dragging their heavy guns to the front lines, turning them into tank slayers. The true impact wouldn't be understood until weeks later. Panzer Lehr never recovered. Its armored strength was shattered. Its veteran crews depleted. Its mobility crippled. And when Operation Cobra launched, the breakthrough that finally tore open France, Panzer Lehr was a shadow of its former self. One tactic, born of desperation, changed the tempo of the war in Normandy. And from that moment on, German armored doctrine faced a reality it couldn't outthink. The Americans weren't just fighting harder. They were fighting smarter. The legacy. Staff Sergeant William Bill Kearns survived Normandy. He went home to Ohio. Married. Raised 3 children. Worked as a mechanic at a local garage. Never bragged about the day he watched an American tactic crack one of Hitler's most feared divisions. He passed away quietly in 1998 at the age of 78. But the men who fought beside him remembered. And the German officers who survived Panzer Lehr's collapse admitted years later, "We had never seen artillery used like that. It broke us." So what does this story tell you now? That innovation isn't always born in laboratories. Sometimes it's born in mud, fear, and necessity. Sometimes it's born from men who refuse to run. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state, and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Staff Sergeant William Bill Kearns and the men of the 30th Infantry Division do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.